This video will introduce you to the preparation of an eye tracking study. Similarly to other studies that involve human participants, the experimenter will first describe the study procedure before the participant gives their explicit consent for their participation. After this, the experimenter may carry out a procedure to determine the participant's dominant eye. For example, here, the participant is asked to extend their arm and use their thumb to cover a pin on a distant wall. Without moving their arm, they will then alternately open and close each eye. The eye that remains open when the thumb is closest to covering the pin is considered the dominant eye. This information can be useful for determining which eye should be tracked.
Please take a seat.
Then, the participant will be seated in front of the eye tracking setup. They will be asked to place their chin and forehead on the headrest. This helps minimize head movements, which would affect the quality of the recordings. Make sure to instruct them not to blink excessively and to find a comfortable position that they can hold for the duration of the task. Breaks during the experiment will allow the participant to move. After the participant has read the instructions about the task, camera adjustments will follow. Sometimes, the lens may need refocusing to get a sharp image of the eye that is being tracked. The next step is to adjust pupil and corneal reflection thresholds. As a general indication, pupil thresholds usually range between 75 and 110, and the corneal reflection is around 230. Then, calibration can begin. Calibration is a procedure that computes the participant's gaze location with respect to the visual stimuli presented on the screen. First, the experimenter may ask the participant to look in the four corners of the screen to ensure optimal tracking of eye movements. During calibration, a target is displayed in different locations on the screen. The distance between the position of the pupil and the center of the target is calculated. Once calibration is successful, the experimenter can proceed to validation. This is a repetition of the same procedure that evaluates the accuracy in tracking the position of the pupil. If validation is poor, the entire calibration and validation procedure should be repeated. Optimal validation values vary according to the experimental paradigm. For reading studies, the maximum error should be smaller or equal to 0.5 degrees of visual angle. This value may be less strict for visual world studies. If calibration issues are encountered, different adjustments can be attempted. For instance, the participant may slide their chin forward or backward, or may position their head differently. Should the procedure prove repeatedly impossible, the eye tracking session might need to be aborted. Once calibration and validation are successful, the experiment can begin. Usually, a practice block precedes the actual task. During the experiment, the experimenter checks before each trial that the tracking error has not increased too much. If necessary, the task can be interrupted to perform new calibration and validation procedures. The experiment can then resume. The participant may rest their eyes and move their head during breaks. After each break, the participant's head is repositioned on the headrest. New calibration and validation procedures are performed before the next experimental block starts. After the eye tracking task is completed, the experimenter may debrief the participant or ask them to fill out some forms. The participant will then be compensated and thanked for their time.